Hello, today we're going to learn how to compare decimals. In this first problem, we have 2 and 8/10 and 2 and 6/10. Now, just like when we're comparing whole numbers, we're following the same procedure for decimals. We are going to work from left to right, from the largest place value to the smallest. So looking at my left of the far left for both of these numbers, the digit in the ones place is a 2 in this number, and it's also a 2 in this number. So therefore, we're going to move to the next digit. Now, even though there's a decimal point, we're still following the same procedure. Now we're going to look at the digit in my tenths. Here I see that we have 8/10, and in this number I have 6/10. So 8/10 is clearly a larger value than 6/10. Therefore, 2 and 8/10 is going to be greater than 2 and 6/10. Now, just as a reminder, this greater than sign is always going to eat the larger number. And I know you learned that in third grade, and you're going to take that and apply that as well when we're comparing decimals and using these inequality symbols or these greater than, less than, or equal to symbols for these problems. Now for the next number, I have 5 and 41/100ths, and I also have 5 and 14/100ths. Now the first thing I'm going to do is work my way from left to right. And I look at my ones place and I notice that both these numbers have a 5. So now I'm going to move to my tenths place. Here I have 4/10, and in this number I have 1/10. Now I know the digits are very similar in both of these numbers, but it's really important that you still work your way from left to right, no matter if the digits are similar or very different. So now looking at my tenths place, 4/10 is clearly larger than 1/10. Therefore, 5 and 41/100ths is greater than 5 and 14/100ths. Now I have 5 and 61/100ths, and I have 5 and 7/10ths. Now sometimes when we're comparing hundredths and tenths, it might be helpful to change 5 and 7/10ths to 5 and 70/100ths. And we know 7/10ths is equivalent to 70/100ths. And it might be easier to compare when you have the same number of digits in each number. So now I'm going to work from left to right again. And I notice in my ones place I have a 5 in both of these numbers. So I'm going to move to my tenths place. I have 6/10 here and 7/10 here. 7/10 is a much larger value than 6/10. Therefore, 5 and 61/100ths is less than 5 and 70/100ths or 5 and 7/10. Now looking at this problem, it's asking you which number has the least value. So we have 4 options here, and I'm still going to follow the same procedure and working from left to right. So I look at A and I see the digit in my ones place is a 9. The digit in my ones place for B is a 7. Now C, I notice I have tens. I have ones and tens. So my whole number here is 37, and for D, my whole number is 79. So 79 and 37 right away are much larger than A and B. So now I'm going to just focus on A and B, and I'm looking at my ones place. 7 is much smaller than 9. Therefore, 7 and 39/100ths is the smallest value or the least value. Now, in many of these problems, if you can determine that this number is smaller just by looking at the whole number and not even moving to your tenths or hundredths, that's completely fine. And sometimes you might even recognize pretty quickly based off of the whole number which number is smaller. Now moving forward, it says which number has the greatest value. Now we're going to do the same procedure as the previous problem. The only difference is they're asking for the greatest value or the largest number this time. So again, looking at A, I see that we have 6 in the ones place. B, my whole number is 68. C, my whole number is 86, and D, my whole number is 36. And notice I'm only focusing on the whole number here to start before moving to my tenths and my hundredths. In fact, I might not even need to look in my tenths or my hundredths place. So looking at the whole number here, we need to find the greatest number. Now we have 68, we have 86, we have 36, and we have 6. Now right away, I'm going to look for any number that has a digit in my tens place as well. So here I have 60 or 6, but the value values, 60, we have 80, 30, so 36, 86, 68. Now right away, hopefully you're able to recognize that 86 is the largest whole number we have here. Therefore, 86 and 3/10 is my greatest value or my largest number here. So the answer here would be C. Now, the previous problem we just had is very, very similar, and you're following the same steps. The only difference is one asked for the smallest value, one asked for the largest value. Now, it's very, very important when you're solving these problems that you read the directions. If you read the directions wrong and you're following the steps, but then you answer incorrectly because you choose the smallest number instead of the greatest number, the problem is all wrong. So it's very, very important for you to read these directions. Some problems today will ask you for the least value. Some problems will ask you for the greatest value. So it is very important that you read the directions so you can definitely get all of these problems correct. As always, I recommend you refer back to this video at any time. It is posted on my YouTube channel as well.